Hello, Oracles. Well, I was wrong, and I'm very happy that I was wrong. I thought for sure today we would see a little boost in Tesla stock, and then it would come down and fade into the end of the day. I was wrong. It did shoot up like I thought, but it never came back down. Tesla finished up 4.69% on the day. Great numbers coming out of China, especially considering the Model 3 line was down for production for the new Model 3 refresh. Huge numbers, huge excitement in the market. All of the indices were red on the day, and Tesla was way up. So the outperformance was awesome. We'll take a look at the charts in a minute. So this continues us on, as I had mentioned yesterday, that, if we drop down further, it would be concerning, but I didn't think we were because we are on this upward trend. Sure enough, we stuck within that. So we will get into the charts, what this China news is, what we could potentially be seeing going into earnings in just a minute. All right, so taking a look at the charts, again, I was mentioning yesterday how we are on this upward trend here. And because of where this wick was, we didn't want to drop any further down because that could show that we were breaking this downward trend. Sure enough, we started the day within that line and then closed above it. So here we are, still in this upward channel, still in a great place to be going through this month. Now, the RSI is at 55, so right in the middle. We saw some decent volume today at 129 million shares trading hands. So again, we are directly in the middle of these two gaps, down at 217.58 and 289.52. So the question here is, which gap are we going to fill first? So I do think both will get filled. It's just a matter of which one gets filled first. Now, my thoughts on this are looking at the excitement and the momentum we have going right now. Unless something comes out in the macro environment, which totally could, we have CPI, PPI, FOMC meeting, PCE data, jobs reports, so much data coming in that could potentially cause the market to pull back. If we get something negative, it could break this. However, even the data that we have been getting out of the macro environment has been good. Softening jobs market, hints that maybe the housing market is starting to soften as well. We are seeing very good signs from the macro standpoint that, at least in the near term, we are looking very positive. So you couple that with what could potentially be happening with Tesla, we may be getting the Cybertruck event news by the end of this week. Now, the end of this quarter, we got these great numbers out of China yesterday. We had the wholesale number of over 84,000. That's the best August they have ever seen. And now that was with the Model 3 production line being down as they were going through this refresh. So with all of that coming into this, that's very bullish. Now, the market had already priced in lower production and sales for Q3 because that's what Elon had spoken about on the Q2 earnings call. So a lower number is already priced in. So if we get to the end of this quarter and on October 2nd, when we get the entire Q3 numbers and they come out with a beat, we could see a massive run going into earnings. So this is pretty exciting going into this. So we're on an upward trend. So the charts are showing us that we are on an upward trend. We have positive macro news that could reinforce that upward trend. We have very good positive momentum coming from Tesla itself to continue this upward trend. So everything from what I see right now shows just upward trend going forward into at least earnings. So again, if we happen to maybe get a miss when it comes to production and deliveries, that could bring us down. But we are looking at some pretty good numbers. Roland has been sharing a lot of data coming out of Europe, and pretty much everybody is just beating across the board. Now, going outside of Europe, South Korea was a bit of a miss, kind of a surprise considering how much South Korea has been pushing for Tesla. So not sure what's going on there, but everywhere else has been amazing. Europe already at this point is beating last year, and we're only in September. This is ridiculous. So the growth is here. So I'm excited to see where we're going to end up finishing this month off. And in some other great news, Sawyer Merritt posts out news. New Model 3s have arrived in Europe. And this is reposted from Esther. News. The first Tesla truck with the beautiful new Model 3 refresh Highland on board has been spotted in Europe. This truck was seen today in Germany. They are finally coming to Europe for all to admire in the service centers. Cannot wait to see them on European roads soon. So now a big question was, well, are these getting produced from Berlin? And I don't think so. I mean, the news we got based out of Austin is the Model 3 line will be coming up and running, but the Cybertruck is a priority, We haven't heard anything about Berlin producing the Model 3. They're still ramping up the Model Y. So it seems to me that these were vehicles that came in off of a boat from China. So that means that these were already done, produced on a boat, and sent over to Europe well ahead of the announcement that they made last week. So now I could be wrong. Maybe you guys can correct me. Maybe Berlin has been producing these, which is kind of crazy to think about with nobody knowing anything about this. But hey, man, either way, I'm excited to see these new Model 3s going around Europe already. Now, I have been hearing some rumors about the Model 3 in North America selling at 0% financing. As of right now, the website does not show that. I do not know if they're going to start it. I don't know if that's just on inventory vehicles. So that I truly do not know. It's not on the website, but if that rumor does come to be true by the end of the year, it would make sense because by the end of the year, I have a feeling that Fremont is going to be producing the new Model 3s as well. So they're going to want to clear out old inventory. In order to do that, dropping it to 0% financing makes a lot of sense. So we'll see how Tesla plays that out going into the end of the year. But the rumors that I heard, at least based upon the website, are not true. So some other exciting news that we have going on this week. For those of you who are in the YieldMax ETFs, we are getting the declaration date on Thursday. That's the date that they announce what the payout is going to be. And then on Friday, it is the X date. So if anyone is interested in buying, I did test it out last month. You can buy it on the declaration date and still get paid for those shares. So I did it early in the day, so I don't know if it matters the time of the day that you do it, but I did it early in the day before they had announced payout, and I still got paid for those shares. When Gort and I were talking previously, we try to do a T+2 to play it safe, so buying tomorrow would be the safe date to make sure that those shares have settled in your portfolio so that they can be accounted for the payout. So again, I do not know what the payout's going to be. I did a quick little spreadsheet to try and figure out if I can calculate what the payout might be. So I broke it by each month. I did the open and the close for each month. I did how much they were up or down for each month. I did the high and the low and the difference because most of these are based upon volatility. So I also took a look at the VIX for each month and what the high and the low were and the difference on that, and then took a look at the payout to see what it was based upon all of these variables. Taking a look at this, it looks like the VIX didn't really play that much of a role in it, despite the fact that volatility definitely plays a major role in this. So what seems to play a bigger role is the actual volatility of the stock price itself, and TSLY tracked a bit off of TSLA. So I'm going to see how accurate I am this time around, and if I'm not close, I'm going to see how TSLA trades as well, and what the volatility is off of that, seeing as that's truly where the options are being played off of. So based upon my calculations here, April being the month that was down the most, that was the lowest payout of 44 cents. And seeing as how August is the second lowest at $2.43 down for the month, I'm anticipating maybe a 50 to 60 cent payout per share. So we will see on Thursday how close I am. If I'm close, I will stick with this, and I'll take into account other numbers like TSLA and the volatility on that to see if I can narrow it down even further. So again, my guesstimate is 50 to 60 cents per share on a payout. Still pretty darn awesome. Not the 83 cents or the $1.06 that we saw previously, but still pretty awesome. Now, my dividends have been growing quite nicely. So I know I've had some conversations with people asking, what's going on with TSLA, why I'm not going as heavy into that. And I still am. I'm still buying Tesla stock every single day. I haven't stopped doing that. But realizing that trading time for money, I can only make so much. So in order to bring in more money to be able to buy more Tesla stock, I needed to find some way to make money that didn't involve me trading time for it. Dividends and passive income are that way. Now, I am anticipating a big market pullback next year. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but the way I'm looking at it is worst case scenario, we do not get that. And I have all this cash flow coming in from these dividends, and then I can just put that into Tesla stock. Sure, I'm buying it a little bit higher, but hey, that's fine. That's what we want anyway, is the stock to go up. If the stock comes down, I will have all of these dividends to have that cash flow coming in to buy even more at a lower price versus not having the cash because I'm having to trade time for money. My job just gave me a massive pay cut. They're forcing me to move into another position. It's almost a 30% pay cut. I'm going to have to work some extra. I'm going to have to work on getting some commissions to try and get even close to what I was making previously. So having these dividends offsets that significantly. And my dividends right now are already half as much as what I'm putting in personally from the outside. So by the end of this year, I will have more money getting invested into the stock market through dividends than I will from myself investing. So that is the power of these dividends. And now, just to be clear, TSLY is not a growth dividend play. It is going to be strictly for income. I don't know how it's going to go over time. It hasn't even been around for a year yet. So for me, I'm looking at it strictly as income for me to be able to put into TSLA and dividend growth plays as well for a longer term income. That is how I'm doing it right now. I will see how it plays out. And that is strictly my strategy. It's not financial advice. This is what I'm doing. This weekend at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I'm going to be having Darth Dividends on here as well. He and I are going to be discussing a lot of these strategies. So if you guys are interested in these dividends, in other sorts of passive income, stay tuned. We will be on Saturday morning, 9 a.m., to be able to discuss all of that. We'll answer any questions that you guys have about anything. He and I have a very similar strategy, and I have been learning from him, so I'll be able to pick his brain a little bit more on all of this. So one last thing going into close here. We did get some news from Tesla Chan saying that there's more news coming out of China tomorrow. I don't know what this news is. We already got some awesome news about the Model 3 refresh. I don't know if they're going to be talking about breaking ground on the Megapack factory. I know that tomorrow we're also supposed to be getting an auto show where they officially release this Model 3 over there. So, not sure what the information is, but sounds like we may be hearing some more news out of China tomorrow as well. We will have to wait and see. Anybody who is over on X, I post everything over there instantly. That is the instant place. On these videos here, it's kind of a wrap up of what we saw for the day. But if you guys want that instant news, X is the place to be. So otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great one.